Welcome to Have I Got News For You? I'm Frank Skinner. In the news this week, archive video footage shows that the man who developed the TV format of The Voice didn't get it right first time. Following last week's disastrous Champions League blunders, Liverpool fans will be happy to see their new multi-million-pound goalkeeper celebrating his arrival. 2 weeks after the royal wedding, footage of the cucumber sandwiches being prepared explains why Camilla spent the next day in the bathroom. And at a secret location in England, the bodyguard looking after Sergei and Yulia Skripal finishes off another day's laundry. On Ian's team tonight is a playwright who once said of television, "It is the most difficult medium to work in. It doesn't know if it wants to be art or mass entertainment." Well, tonight it's neither. Please welcome Lucy Prebble. And with Paul tonight is a comedian who, as a German, is just about the only person here who has blanked out his diary for the whole World Cup. Please welcome Henning Wehn. OK, so we start with the bigger stories of the week. Ian and Lucy, take a look at this.
OK.
Next Prime Minister? Oh, no.
Ah, that's the country as he wishes it was.
Black and white. Oh, looking decisive. Oh, yes. Move to the right.
Oh, who's that?
That's George Soros trying to make us vote again. Well, that's the big story, then. Brexit.
Again.
Just for a change.
Yeah. It's ongoing, isn't it?
It does appear to be, doesn't it?
It's very strange. It's like American news is perfectly suited to the medium of today, like 24-hour news and Twitter and all of that. Lurid, it happens incredibly quickly and it's all crazy. And then British, it's just one thing forever, like a turgid epic poem that just goes on and on, where you don't really understand what's happening or any of the people featured in it.
Everyone in here, if you had your time again, who would vote differently?
Well, what's that going to tell us?
No. I'll tell you what that is going
50% put their hands up. Well, that's conclusive.
No, what that tells us is absolutely pointless to have a second referendum, because for anyone to vote any different, they would have to admit they got it wrong the first time round. No one's going to do that.
No, people don't want to do that.
Yeah.
All that talk about, oh, if there's a second referendum, there will be 80-20 in favour of Remain, not on your Nelly. No chance. It will be exactly the same outcome, because say you weren't happy with the level of immigration 2 years ago, you're not going to be happy about it now.
No.
So if you thought 2 years ago the country was run by unelected European Union bureaucrats, well, nothing over the past 2 years would have changed your opinion on that. Well, and if you were daft enough to fall for that 350 million quid a week for the NHS law, you're daft enough to fall for something else next time round. It's a complete waste of time. Let's just get on with it.
What a terrific policy that is. You should be in the cabinet. Doesn't matter what it is, let's do it. Fantastic, Henning. You are wasted in comedy.
Britain went to the polls on June the 23rd, 2016. There was that question, do you fancy some never-ending palaver? The majority of people said that's exactly what we're after. Upheaval and loads of it, and now we're having upheaval. Lovely, let's get on with it.
You do love palaver.
Oh, you know, I'm going to miss you guys. This is the news that billionaire George Soros is funding a campaign to have another referendum on Brexit. How much money is George Soros worth?
I think even just his philanthropic work, he's given away more than 10 billion.
Well, he's
a hedge fund manager.
Yeah.
He's currently worth about 6 billion.
Oh.
Oh, can we donate?
And he has spent $500,000 on the Best for Britain campaign, which, if you think about it, is only 0.0083% of his total wealth. So he hasn't gone crazy. It's like me putting in, say, $250,000. did he acquire his wealth, according to the respected historian and social commentator Roseanne Barr?
Oh, yeah, we might get in trouble just by repeating things that she said.
She called him
I
a
wouldn't
Nazi.
Yeah.
Yes, she had a Twitter spat with Chelsea Clinton in which she declared George Soros is a Nazi who turned in his fellow Jews to be murdered in German concentration camps and stole their wealth. If he's ever a guest on here, that'd be a nice introduction.
It's not true, though, is it?
No, it's not true. He's a hedge fund manager, I mean, which you can either approve or disapprove of, but, I mean, his wealth is on display, and he says, I am paying out because I want to change the Brexit verdict, which has annoyed people.
And what must be annoying for him, though, is that I believe he was born in Hungary and he was sort of 13 or 14 at the time of the Second World War, and he was... Sorry, Henning, I don't mean to bring that up, but...
It took us a good 2-3 minutes, I'm happy.
I just would imagine it's quite annoying to then be called a Nazi, you know, and particularly at a time where there are some people literally calling themselves Nazis. What are you doing about that, Roseanne? Well, pretty much you're supporting them. It's pretty bad.
What did Roseanne blame this terrible remark on?
Didn't she blame it on Ambien or something? Didn't she blame it on some medication?
Yes, she blamed it on sleeping pills. And the chief executive officer of Sanofi said, while all pharmaceutical treatments have side effects, racism is not a known side effect of Sanofi medication.
But what's happened? She's been sacked from her show.
Yeah.
Yes, they've pulled her TV show and her agent has sacked her, and she's had 3 offers from Top Gear. Meanwhile, Ireland has been the focus of a lot of news stories this week, and some reporters have been clearly working around the clock. Let's have a look.
Let's speak to our Ireland correspondent, Chris Page, who's in Dublin for us this morning. And yes, Chris, there are the questions for Northern Ireland, but focusing on the Republic, a huge social change, this.
Yes, that's right, Chris. Excuse me. Yes, there'll be lots and lots of reflection, I think, today on the momentous nature of yesterday and the vote that was taken. Ireland voting by a margin of 2 to 1 to liberalise their abortion laws.
It's a bit late for puberty to hit him, isn't it?
That's what all Irish people sound to me like.
You're good on that tightrope, aren't you?
When I said you were leaving, I didn't think it was tonight. So, what's Jacob Rees-Mogg been struggling with this week?
Should he be Prime Minister or not? Is that what you're after?
No, his investment company.
Oh, the Russian investments.
Yeah, let's answer that. It's much more fun. His hedge fund, or private equity capital company, has been revealed to be huge investors in Russia. And Rees-Mogg has repeatedly said, we've got to punish Putin, we've got to have really effective sanctions. And then someone, it was the Mail on Sunday, in fact, said, well, what about your company? Do you think you shouldn't invest there? And he said, oh, no, I don't make the investment decisions. Someone else does that. It's emerging markets. I couldn't possibly say that. Take back control, but not of your own investment. Great story. I loved every minute.
Hasn't he made some manoeuvres?
Yes, he said that he doesn't want to be Prime Minister, which is hugely popular.
Right. But hasn't he literally moved house to be much nearer to Downing Street? To sort of a £5 million, £10 million property from which he can sort of talk about the elites ruining the country?
Absolutely.
Sounds good, yeah.
Absolutely.
I mean, it's a big old house. He has got about 20 children, doesn't he?
You're exaggerating.
He's got 6.
Yeah, why doesn't he live in Somerset? Because he's the MP for Somerset, isn't he?
He lives there as well, Henning.
Ah.
In this country, you're allowed to live in 2 or 3 places at once.
But
Is that how he's managed to have so many children?
Yeah.
No, but that's the thing I don't quite get, because he's a Londoner, isn't he? He was born in London. How can he be the MP for Somerset? He's not from there.
It's a constituency system.
Because surely there must be someone within Somerset who has got conservative leanings. I wouldn't mind giving it a go, but no, I have to get someone from London.
He was born in Somerset, and his family come from Somerset.
No, but he wasn't very loyal to Somerset, though, was he?
Yeah, but we don't really mind about any of that. We just want our political figures now to be like cartoons, basically. He looks like he comes out of the Beano, basically, and that's what we like. Him versus Theresa May, it's sort of a competition of who looks like they've been drawn by Quentin Blake the most, and that's what we like.
We have a picture of him with his oldest, and can I say that we have had to cover the face of his child for privacy reasons. The photo of Jacob Rees-Mogg with his son actually caused some outrage on the Telegraph's letters page. Tony Parrock from London wrote, "Sir, how on earth can the Rees-Mogg family be called traditionalists when your photograph, May 28, shows Jacob using all 4 buttons on his double-breasted suit? The bottom right should be left undone. And his eldest son with both, yes, both buttons on his suit fastened. I fear that either they are masquerading as traditionalists or the country is going to the dogs." According to the Mail, Jacob Rees-Mogg has bought a £5 million home next to Parliament, fuelling speculation that he's positioning himself as the next Tory leader. I didn't realise to become Prime Minister you first had to be in the catchment area. According to the Mail, the property is a 5-storey 18th century townhouse, or as Jacob Rees-Mogg calls it, a new build. What was the French president's radical approach to citizenship this week?
If you can climb a building and save a child, you can become a French citizen.
Exactly. Simple.
Very great story, very good story.
Yes, he granted French citizenship to Mamadou Gassama, a migrant from Mali, for bravely rescuing a child who was dangling from a tall building. Let's see that.
And this week, there were millions of immigrants just climbing up buildings all over Paris.
Yeah.
Spider-Man on every front, looking for 4-year-olds to rescue.
It might have been quite amusing if he just kept going, if he'd sort of... turned out it was a shortcut on his way to work.
How was the government's Defence Minister, Gavin Williamson, put on the spot this week?
By Richard Madeley, of all people.
Yes.
Ah.
Richard Madeley was standing in for Piers Morgan on ITV's Breakfast with Twats, and he decided that an item on elephant poaching wasn't what viewers were interested in, so he got...
It must be a hell of a saucepan.
So let's see hard-hitting Richard Madeley.
Do you regret using very casual Trump-esque language like shut up and go away? Please don't tell me what happened, because we know what happened. Do you regret using that language? That is the question.
Well, what was right is actually we came together with our allies and made it absolutely clear to Russia that they couldn't act in that behaviour, and I think that was the right thing to
Interview terminated because you won't answer the question. Good luck with the African Elephant project. That is an excellent thing to do, but it would be helpful if you answered a straight question with a straight answer.
I never thought I would say bring back Piers Morgan.
But are you going to say bring back Piers Morgan?
No.
No, I've changed my mind.
Yeah.
But he's pretending to be Piers. How tragic is that? I mean, Piers being Piers is tragic.
Well, he's become rather popular, I think, though, hasn't he, as a result of this? He's kind of, you know, basically talking over somebody, arguing with them and then getting rid of them, and that's just Judy.
Well, he said it's the most popular thing he's ever done on television.
Well, that's even worse.
Yeah. I have to say, it's a list I'd like to peruse. Richard Madeley once came up to me at a party and said, "Are you wearing pants?" And I thought he needed a pair quickly. And I said, yeah. And he said, "I never do. Never." Knowing that has undermined his performance. Anyway, this is the news that George Soros has launched a campaign for a second Brexit referendum. George Soros has been attempting to undermine the result of the EU referendum. According to The Guardian, Soros is a billionaire financier, the 29th richest man in the world, and Jewish. A spokesman for Labour said, "See?" Meanwhile, President Macron granted French citizenship to a man that rescued a child from a balcony. Watching the dramatic scene on YouTube, Donald Trump couldn't help but be moved, exclaiming, "We're going to have to build that wall a hell of a lot higher." Paul and Henning, take a look at this.
Ah, lovely carrots being picked. Avocados. Avocados and carrots. Somebody from the 1940s. Oh, yeah, hello. And, oh, God, these dreadful self-service machines in supermarkets where essentially you work for them. Avocados and carrots, nobody can tell the difference.
It's shoplifting, isn't it?
Computer-assisted shoplifting.
Computer-assisted shoplifting, robots.
Of sorts, yeah. So essentially, you pretend that what you did, you bought carrots, but you're going home with the avocados because they're cheaper by the kilo.
Right.
The carrots are. So.
Is that why that woman had such ludicrously large sleeves?
Yeah,
basically
exactly.
just smuggling avocados.
Yeah.
What happens is at the self-checkout, customers key in carrot when it's actually an avocado on the scale. It's a simple trick that supermarkets are hoping won't be publicised. Criminology expert Emmeline Taylor was working with retailers to reduce shoplifting when something extraordinary emerged. One major supermarket discovered it had sold more carrots than it had ever had in stock. In a further shocking revelation, supermarkets found that 800 million more carrots were apparently sold last year than in 2013.
Actually, I'm not going to say how I know this, but about, just for your information, 40 carrots, about 1 bottle of Prosecco, if anyone fancies.
What acronym has Ms Taylor painstakingly created for this type of shopper?
Probably something to do with shop.
I can tell you that she calls them swipers. It's one of the most middle-class things I've ever heard. It's seemingly well-intentioned patrons engaging in routine shoplifting. Which high street shop do you hate the most?
W.H. Smith.
W.H. Smith?
It's got the most number of complaints from a survey of 10,000 people.
Yes, sadly.
Yeah, they don't sell nearly enough copies of Private Eye. They're all me, the complaints.
The staff aren't particularly well trained these days, and they're sort of not giving good service, apparently.
I don't think of them so much as a shop as like a museum for 12 years ago that you can kind of wander around when you're waiting for a train and you're sort of like, oh, wow, do you remember when we used to, like, fill our filofaxes with that? Or buy, like, you know, basically magazines which are kind of just glossy pages that make you hate yourself that you then throw away.
Well, not all magazines are glossy. And
sorry.
Some have a sort of matte finish. And they don't make you hate yourself. They make you hate nearly everyone else.
Yes, an annual survey by Which magazine revealed that W.H. Smith is our least favourite shop. One customer told Which, "I always use the self-service tills because the staff are rude." Because you might find more staff standing around those tills now, loudly demanding to know why you've got a carrot on the scales when you're actually buying a stapler.
What always amuses me about W.H. Smith in stations is that you can buy a bottle of water in the Daily Telegraph, and that is then cheaper than just a bottle of water on its own.
There are reasons for that.
They assume that if you buy the Daily Telegraph, you must have a drink problem.
Hospital patients and visitors had a bit of a shock when they tried to buy toothpaste in W.H. Smith. Why was that?
Very expensive.
Yeah, more expensive than anywhere else.
They hiked up the price of Colgate to $7.99. Oh. According to The Guardian, the same tube could be bought in Superdrug or Sainsbury's for £1. W.H. Smith insisted this had happened accidentally and only in Yorkshire. Apparently, in Yorkshire, the packaging claims that it fights E-by gum disease.
That's why we had this question.
And it was worth every moment. They do seem to have some pricing issues. Do you need some folders? Here you go. You can buy 3 for $3.99, or if you want, you can buy 3 for $4.99. Pritt stick, $1.69 each, or the bargain price of 2 for £4. What about some minstrels? 2 for £3 or £3.25 each? To be fair to WH Smith, they do offer some genuine reductions. There's a delightful game of cat bingo for sale. It was 1996, now 1995.
I've never seen that breed of cat before in the middle. Serengeti. I don't know, that's a very lovely-looking cat, but I've never seen one like that.
Do you cross one off when you see it? Is that the idea?
Yes, that's probably it, isn't it? Yeah.
Oh,
You get a bingo card with pictures of cats on them. Yeah, you bet you're right, but that's what it is.
No, I think you have to run one over.
When you fill up your card, you shout out, mouse. Thank you very much. I'm here all week.
Let's move to the luxury end of the retail market. For £935, you can get this from fashion designer Balenciaga. It's a T-shirt with a dress shirt stitched to the front of it.
What?
And that costs £995?
935. Stop exaggerating.
Well, if you're daft enough to wear a shirt like that, you're daft enough to pay that amount of money, aren't you?
But is it 2 in 1? Can you wear it the other way around? So you can wear the dress shirt and the T-shirt on the back?
Are you considering that?
I
You'd go for that, then, would you?
For my casual and smart wear.
You'd always feel like you were queuing. Bit great for sodomy, I must say, but still... Sorry, everyone. That was one of those things...
Is that an old catchphrase, Frank? Served you well in the old days.
I'll say it did.
Frank Skinner, great.
I bought me a big house.
Has he got a back garden? You're making up your own jokes and then quoting them.
But thank you for coming with me.
I'm sure you've said that more than once.
Do I detect a note of end of term in the atmosphere? This is a claim that shoppers are running expensive avocados through self-checkouts, but saying they are cheap carrots. Carrots aren't always cheap. The one Theresa May offered the DUP cost over £1 billion. They don't have this sort of problem in Scotland. If anyone tries to buy a vegetable there, an alarm goes off. And so to round 2, the picture spin quiz. Fingers on buzzers, teams.
This is Raheem Sterling, the England footballer, who's just been revealed this week has a new tattoo on his right leg of a gun. And this has caused a great deal of consternation amongst... I think The Sun was the first to pick up on it. They're saying it's glorifying gun culture, whereas his version of the story is because his father was killed, shot when he was very young. It's a kind of reference to that. It's tattoos, isn't it? You know, I mean, when I was growing up, the only person I knew had a tattoo was Popeye. But now
you knew Popeye?
Yeah. I knew Olive Oil before she was virgin olive oil, I could say. So... Not sure how that's technically possible, but never mind. So, yeah, that's what it's about.
Yeah.
And he says it isn't finished yet. There's more to come, so...
How's he going to soften it up? Exactly.
I'm not a tattoo designer. I get mistaken quite frequently, but no, I don't know, maybe like have a Smurf there or something.
That would do it. Some people are demanding he plays in leggings in the World Cup to cover it up, but Sterling has asserted his right to bare legs.
I mean, Frank, you're a football fan. Is there a racial element to the criticism?
He gets a lot of incredible stick for no very good reason.
What sort of thing?
He has been singled out by the tabloids. Here's one. He queued for a pasty from Greggs.
Oh, well...
And that he got some new batteries from Pound World.
Yeah, that's just stupid, because they'll be empty in a week. Oh, yeah, and then on the one hand, they say he's too flashy, and on the other hand, he got criticised for shopping at Primark or something, wasn't it?
I once flew EasyJet, and the headline in the paper...
What, just the once?
Yeah.
How did you get back?
Sorry. The headline was Frank Skinflint.
So you went on EasyJet?
Yes. Is that fair? Sorry. Social media is a theatre for a lot of tattoo discussion. There was one I particularly liked. Someone called Penman Declan thought that the picture might actually shows Sterling's fellow footballer Peter Crouch. And I couldn't see it at first, but look. So Sterling's Man City teammate, Leroy Sané, has a tattoo on his back of someone who's been a real inspiration to him and who he'd like everyone else to appreciate. Do you know who it is?
His dad? I remember watching his dad, Souleymane Sané, played for Wattenscheid when he came over from Senegal, and I remember seeing him many times live.
So is his dad dead?
No. It's on Leroy Sané's back, there is a tattoo of Leroy Sané. There it is.
Wow. That's confident, isn't it?
I think it's so if you see him on the beach walking past, you go, oh, what was that, Leroy? Oh, yeah, it was. OK, yes, this is Raheem Sterling and his controversial gun tattoo. A lot of England fans say it's crossed the line, but then again, Henning, they said that in 1966. Come on, it's better than the war.
It's very much the same level, isn't it?
Yeah, well... I had a tattoo on my 60th birthday.
Did you?
Actually, yes, just my name and address. Time now for the odd one out round. Your 4R, Queen Victoria's coronation ring, the 1435 from Newcastle to Reading, New Zealand, and the new lift shafts at Maghull Station near Liverpool.
I'm guessing this is something to do with things that didn't happen, because there's been complete timetable meltdown. I mean, the trains haven't arrived, or they've been cancelled, or... I mean, Northern's the worst, but all the railway companies have been unbelievably terrible. I just mention it. Obviously, it doesn't bother me personally. I just hate them all. Sorry, what's the question about?
So Ian's pleased to be on this show every week because at least he can get a seat, isn't that right?
Where did the Reading train end up this week? That's a sort of...
Oh, was it in Manchester?
New Zealand?
Well, it went somewhere opposite to where it was supposed to go.
What's the opposite of Reading?
Illiteracy.
Yeah, good.
Oh, classy.
Simultaneous.
The answer is they're all in the wrong place, except for New Zealand, which launched a new campaign recently to remind people that it's there at all. It's true. Why is New Zealand having to remind people of its existence?
Does it not appear on a lot of maps?
Indeed. It keeps getting missed off maps.
Oh.
And the Kiwis are not very happy. Here it isn't on a standard map of the world.
Oh.
Here it isn't on the wall of a Starbucks in Bournemouth.
Well, they've done their research, haven't they?
Yeah. But best of all, here it isn't on the New Zealand government's own website. So, what happened to the 1435 from Newcastle to Reading last Friday?
Ended up in Liverpool.
Well, it got lost after taking a wrong turn.
That's the most pathetic excuse ever.
If the driver doesn't know the way, there's so many tracks out there.
Yeah.
Or maybe he forgot his map.
Yeah.
And then it's once you, even when you realise your mistake, them trains are notoriously difficult to turn round again.
And it arrived in Pontefract instead of Reading. It was eventually terminated in Sheffield, 170 miles away from where it was supposed to be. So the new lift shafts at Maghull Station on Merseyside were built in the wrong place, according to local resident Andy Wells. Why is Mr Wells furious about that?
Is it a view from his house?
Yeah, here he is relaxing in his garden. According to Andy, the towers suddenly appeared over the course of just a weekend. Well, if you got the number of that builder, Andy... Network Rail failed to comply with the original plans and admitted that the position of the lift shafts is out by ½ a metre. Andy, who's furious, expressed his feelings to the Liverpool Echo. I think it's a metre. So what happened to Queen Victoria's coronation ring? I'll give you a clue. It's something to do with an archbishop.
Oh, he nicked it.
No.
He put it under his cassock, said it's a carrot. and ran for it.
Well, it must have been put on the wrong finger. There's nothing else that it could be.
That is correct. According to royal historian Carolyn Harris, the ring was sized for her little finger, but the Archbishop tried to ram it onto her fourth finger. There was also a terrible mix-up when they put Prince Albert's ring on the wrong penis. The wrong
That was the Duke of Argyll, wasn't it?
On the subject of a wrong place, if you think you've accidentally walked into the back of a TV crew's film shot by mistake, you know when people walk into the back of a shot, how would you deal with it?
I think walk normal pace and run round the back and then keep appearing.
Well, this man thinks he has got the answer.
And as a result, they say that that is discriminatory. It goes against equality law and it infringes, they say, on Article 8 of the European Convention on Human Rights, which is that it violates their right to private and family life. They're also saying...
You see, I don't think he'd even seen her. I think he was just running a little bit early for an appointment. Yes, they're all in the wrong place except for New Zealand, which has launched a new campaign recently to remind people that it's there at all. At Queen Victoria's coronation, the Archbishop of Canterbury forced the ring onto the wrong finger. A similar mistake happened when, much to Prince Charles's dismay, the ring that was supposed to be put on Camilla's third finger actually went on Diana's. According to the Daily Mirror, a train from Newcastle to Reading stopped at Pontefract, Yorkshire, and in the end, passengers heading south had to get off in Sheffield and catch another train to Birmingham. All's well that ends well. Time now for the Missing Words round, which this week features as its guest publication, Beecraft, the informed voice of British beekeeping.
Yeah, real buzz about it.
Yeah. apparently the Queen reads it. And we start with shocked couple return from honeymoon to find what?
Prince Philip's changed the locks.
They're related.
They're man and wife.
Bringing us back.
They're man and wife. Shocked couple return from honeymoon, finally related, they're man and wife. It was a story of a happy ending. A whiff of incest, as that unfortunate perfume was called. Never sold much at Christmas, did it? But that's what it is, finding their married couple, husband and wife.
Now, it's shocked couple returned from honeymoon to find 6-foot-high fence on their doorstep. After 11 days in the Dominican Republic, 20-somethings Thomas and Rebecca Entwistle returned to their Lancashire property with stunning countryside views to find the local farmer had erected this.
So?
Wouldn't happen in the south of England. I mean, a couple in their 20s owning their own home. OK, next one. What is not something bees are known for, but that could be wrong?
Manoeuvring themselves out of an open window.
No, it is intelligence. According to the researchers at Queen Mary University, bumblebees have been trained using various methods to roll a ball into a defined area.
It's something the England football team could be trained for, isn't it, to roll a ball into a defined area?
OK, the world's oldest case of dandruff, what?
Now decorates the White House pillows. Lovely image.
It is quite sweet. The answer is that world's oldest case of dandruff found on dinosaur from 125 million years ago. The discovery of dandruff on a dinosaur fossil had one leading paleontologist scratching his head, which he now realises that's how it got there. Next one. Pensioner banned from Wetherspoons after what?
After making a pro-European comment?
No, it's a pensioner. Pensioner banned from Wetherspoons after row over missing chicken. Mr. Elliot was banned from Wetherspoons pub in Camborne for complaining there were only 5 pieces of chicken in a meal that was meant to have 10. Wetherspoons chicken nuggets can be dipped in a thick, sticky sauce if you drop them on the carpets. OK, next one. Bees are the first insects that have been shown to understand the concept of what?
Brexit.
Nectar points?
Oh, yes. Very good. Excellent.
No.
No.
Zero.
Zero?
They understand the concept of zero, particularly, apparently, bees living in the West Bromwich area.
There are some football fans who believe the name of your club is West Bromwich Albion Nil.
Right. Richard Branson steps up training regime for what?
Oh, this has got to be space travel, isn't it?
Intergalactic war, something like that.
Yeah.
It is trip into space.
Yes.
If it all goes to plan, Virgin Galactic will take off and maintain speeds of 2,500 miles an hour for 70 seconds, at which point a replacement bus service will take passengers west away. Next, bees' smelly feet, what?
Are starting to hum?
Oh.
It doesn't really work. Don't think about it too much.
No, it's actually interesting, this. They tell other bees a flower is empty. Scent from a bee's feet tells other bees that a flower has already been visited. So bees' feet are incredibly complicated and an essential tool in pollen gathering. In many ways, they're the bee's knees. What? Come on, make your mind up. Don't like it or like it. What can't get enough of what in Slough?
It must be bee-related. Bees can't get enough of flowers in Slough. They're just nice flowers.
Is it bees?
It isn't bees.
It isn't bees.
I'd be surprised if you guessed this one.
Is it
I've
Mick
gotta be
Jagger?
honest.
Is it?
It's even
He
more...
can't get enough of satisfaction in Slough.
It's even less likely than Mick Jagger.
Oh, Bill Wyman.
No, it is actually Jodie Foster can't get enough of the Holiday Inn in Slough.
Did not see that coming.
This is according to a piece in the Mail. The article also includes a competition in which you can win a night in our Holiday Inn hotel, and we'll throw in breakfast. Yes, the room service can be a bit slapdash. Finally, man who survived Pompeii, what?
Goes to Hiroshima.
Has been rejected as Italian finance minister.
I know this. He was hit in the head. They found one of the bodies left in Pompeii, and he survived the initial shock and the lava, and then he was hit by a bit of falling masonry.
That is absolutely...
Yes.
Yes.
Henning just needs to go to the loo quickly. He's
I've had enough of all this.
No, he's...
Back to Berlin.
We're nearly there.
I know, I did say to him, only have a couple of minutes, but...
Yeah.
But never mind. It's
First casualty of Brexit. We'll have a lot of empty chairs.
I didn't think they'd take them mid-show.
Are you going to stand in, Steve?
Going to continue without him?
Yeah, go on.
I suppose we're going to have to get used to it eventually.
That's going to be good for his morale, isn't it?
You'll leave the studio and you'll be climbing the tower block across the road.
OK, let's carry on then.
No, Ian is right. The answer is hit by rock. After surviving the initial eruption of Vesuvius, one man was struck by some falling debris. Let's please have a look at how they found him after a recent excavation.
Gutting.
No, I love the fact topical news quiz. The only question I got right is about Pompeii.
So...
He's back.
OK.
Do you want to do the mic? Just might as well.
In case he says anything.
So, where were we?
So, the final scores are Ian and Lucy. So, the final scores are Ian and Lucy have 4 points, but Paul and Henning have 6 points.
Oh, well, there we are.
But before we go, there's just time for the caption competition.
I've seen him on YouTube. He was teaching that pug dog, and that he's still at it there, teaching the Hitler salute to all them dogs.
You always have to bring it up, don't you?
Next one.
Of course, I was turned down for the conga. Man makes mistake and baits fishing rod with Labrador bait.
Where's the catfish? Thank you.
This is not my idea of a holiday, Malcolm. I'll leave it up to you as to which one's saying it to the other one. Oh, no, you wanted to bring the wheels. I said you won't need them, but... Oh, no, I might as well be talking to myself. Well, I don't know where your trousers have gone. When did you last see them? I'll stop there.
And I leave you with news that the government admits that funding cuts are affecting their witness protection programme. Scientists have identified yet another dangerous thing that may contain nuts. And recent paparazzi photos from Ant McPartlin's countryside retreat suggest his rehab is still work in progress. Good night. You're doing a rewrite?
Late in the day.
Went worse than I thought.